I think both parties could have handled it better, starting from the head coach. And I think if he had made a... I understand that it's a personal decision, but you still work for somebody. And he had given no indication whatsoever that he was interested in leaving the job after. So when you spring up a surprise like that, especially after a defeat, a painful defeat, it can destabilize things. It makes things unstable. And then following, if we are to go by what the FA statement says, the fact that he left the team bus, they tried to reach him, couldn't reach him, that is obviously not necessarily the best. Because for me, if you've handed in your resignation, if you announce to the public you are resigning, then at least you should also officially communicate to those who hired you that you are resigning before you can decide to switch off your phone or whatever you want to do. And if that wasn't done, for me, that's a bit problematic. Even bigger for me, and even more disappointing, is the statement from the FA. Because for me, it has just generated unnecessary drama around the team. The FA did not need to add the details that they added to that statement. And I thought that this was an FA that had hired extra hands into their PR and their communications department to fix some of these unnecessary excesses.
Especially after hiring 3 or 4 more people.
3 or 4 more people.
to that department.
Yeah. And in fact, the person that they asked to head it is a very reputable guy when it comes to things like this. Yeah. You don't... And it's one of those things where I'm refusing to believe that was his handwriting. Because an institution can't be emotional.
Yeah.
Individuals can be. But when you represent an institution and when a statement is speaking for an institution, it can't be emotional. Yeah. And that statement it's like I'm fighting with you and I want to spoil your name. It was, for me, it was silly. Very unnecessary. And what it has done is, you just mentioned it, there's still a chance for the team to qualify. There's still a last game they have to play against our bitter rivals. But the whole conversation is around the GFA versus Laryea Kingston, which for me is amateurish, it's childish. We've gone past this thing. It shouldn't be happening at this level. You can deal with these things in the background. I understand the frustrations of the head coach. But they are always, you see, at the end of the day, did he get to go into the competition with the players that he wanted? Yes, he did. So then there were people, maybe even in the minority, but there were also people in the FA who stood behind him, who allowed him to go into the competition with a group of players he wanted to work with. Yes, there was extra noise and distraction from elsewhere. And you see, to be honest, these things happen. Yeah. They happen not just in Ghana. They happen elsewhere. I always say, look, football is one of it is the most subjective sport you could have. The fact that you think player A is better than player B doesn't mean I think the same.
Right.
And once the 2 players pass the quality threshold, which is important, as soon as they pass that quality threshold, there's every reason why I can ask you questions as to why you pick this one ahead of this one. But as long as the head coach has the final say, and as long as those 20 players, Laryea said himself that they were guys he literally handpicked, and he was backed by certain quarters in the FA to take them to the competition, then case closed. You had your way. If you were not satisfied with how some relationships were going, that is fine. But again, there's always a way you go by certain things.
And you're addressing, what you're talking about, you're addressing suggestions that he left because some people tried to infiltrate his squad with their own players, basically.
Yes. And the bottom line is that didn't happen.
Okay.
They tried for it to happen, but that didn't happen.
That's the allegation.
That's the allegation. But look, simply put, this could have been handled way better. Look, they could have done this thing until today. Probably only journalists or reporters will know, but the public will not know. And then we move on and we support the focus of the team, which is the boys. Yes. We support them to finish what they started. But it's really quite unfortunate that it's spilled over to this very unnecessary drama that we are talking about.